Hey, this is Igor Kheifets, and this is my friend David D. Now, the reason for shooting this video is because I'm getting a lot of questions in the recent year, in about 12 months. It's a consistent question, and the question goes something like this. Igor, how can I have more control over my financial destiny, especially during the times when the economy is so volatile, when we're losing jobs to robots, when, I'm not getting any younger, my body is giving up on me. So basically, it's all about how can I make money in a predictable way. Now, there's only one way to do it, in my opinion, that I know works. When I say I know works, what I mean is I know works for everyone who applies it, and not for some hotshot guru or a person who's got deep pockets that can invest tons and tons of money into advertising or an existing business. So this method, obviously, is list building and email marketing. Since you've probably heard me say it more than once, instead of telling you about it again, what I decided to do is I decided to have David here show you what a day out of the life of an internet marketer with a giant list actually looks like. David and I go way back. We met online back in 2013 or so, and ever since David has been enjoying the list building lifestyle. The purpose of this video is to have you take a sneak peek at what David's got going on at his journey, so you can see for yourself just how life-changing having a list can be for you. David, first off, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me. This is really appreciated. I appreciate you taking the time to drop in and do this case study. I'm always love spending time demonstrating to others what's possible, because trust me, wherever you are right now, I've been there. Whatever you think you've tried and it hasn't worked, I've tried it, and probably it hasn't worked for me too. So for us to be able to spread the message and for you to help other people. In fact, we were actually talking about this the other day. I told you that, look, whatever you can do to share this message with others and whatever you can do to help people, you have to do it, because this is the kind of stuff that actually changes lives. And I mean that not as a cliche, not as another thing you hear online, but my life was actually changed. And we'll get to that in just a few minutes.
I'm dying for everyone to just discover your journey because it's such an incredible story. So let's just start from the very beginning.
Sure.
What was the reason you got into online marketing?
I was working for a very large, fairly established organization that I had a pretty good job as by a lot of people's standards. But what happened was at the end of I forget when it was. I think it was 2012 or 2013. It was a while back. I started noticing that, I wanted to, first of all, take a vacation at the end of the year. It was towards Christmas. And again, not to get religious or anything. And also, so I went to my boss's office and I knocked on the door and I said, hey, I wanted to have 3 things going on at the end of the month, at the end of December, and I wanted to take some time off. And, it was my birthday. It was also, my daughter just turned 1. I think it was the end of 2012. And also, it was also Christmas, so I wanted to kind of take some time off and enjoy and do things like that. And before I even got a chance to leave the office, he was like, no, because if I give you any time off, I'm going to have to give everybody else time off too. I'm like, well, that kind of sucks, you know what I mean? And I was the kind of guy that just does the job, right? I show up, I never miss a day of work. I was a good employee by many, many standards. And he also said that, look, we have a big quota to meet. We need to make sure that we meet it and stuff. So I figured, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and put in the hours, make sure I'm working, doing everything that I need to do.
Let me take one for the team, right?
Exactly. And, continue doing what I'm doing. And basically the end of the month came and everybody got their checks. And we met the quota. I've put in over 14, 15-hour days especially that month, because we had a big quota to meet. And at the end of the month, we got the checks and I opened my check and I look at it and it's exactly the same amount as every other month. And I was thinking, man, I put in 150% hours and stuff. Instead of working the usual 8-9 hours, I put in 12, 13, 14-hour days and stuff. I thought there'd be a little something extra there, so I called head office and I'm like, hey, I think there's something wrong with my check because it's supposed to be, more. And they were like, no, there's actually nothing wrong with it. You don't work on hourly, you work on, just a global kind of an amount. And I was like, man, if I knew that before I actually put in all the hours, I would have not cared. I would have just left at 5, 6 o'clock, whenever the time was, and just kind of took off. So that was the first signal for me that I'm literally just a number. And if you're working for a company right now, as important as you think you are, trust me, you are just a number. You're just a little robot that comes in every day, produces stuff, and you can be replaced like this. From that moment onwards, I decided, okay, I gotta do something. You know, I can't be going on with this for my entire life, just kind of showing up, having somebody control me like a little puppet to dictate when I take vacations, when I don't take vacations, when I need to show up, and also to be able to, you know, put all those hours and not be able to get anything extra out of it. So that was the moment that I actually decided, okay, I gotta create something else. I had no idea what I was gonna do. I have no experience whatsoever back then with anything like list building or online marketing or any of that stuff.
I don't think you even heard the term, right?
I mean, I was aware of it. Obviously, that was the time where everybody was kind of looking at a lot of ads online and stuff. That's when it was kind of becoming popular. But I had no idea of the world that exists, that you can actually liberate yourself if you do the right things.
You've been working for a big company, you put in the hours, you've met the quotas, you worked overtime, and unlike what you thought, you were not rewarded with extra money, you were not rewarded with any praise. I mean, although that wouldn't even change anything at that point. And you were now considering a different way.
There had to be a different way. There had to be a different way. And as much as back then I thought that this would be what I would pretty much be doing for the rest of my life, as soon as I realized that it's really not, like, you really are just a number. And that's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, but that's what it is. Look, you wake up every single day. You got to do that every day for Monday to Friday, sometimes Monday to Saturday, Monday to Sunday. So it's hard anyway, so you gotta choose your hard. Like, are you gonna just continue doing the stuff that's hard and familiar, or get to the hard and a little bit unfamiliar for a little short period of time? And I mean short, I mean, we'll get to the part of how long it took me to generate the results and stuff.
So now you're basically searching for something else. So what are your action steps? What are you looking at? What are you trying?
Basically what I've done is most likely what most people do. I just went online and I started looking at different opportunities and different I started signing up to people's newsletters and started, you know, watching videos and trying to learn things and doing all these different things. And basically I joined, again, I'm not going to mention any names, but back then there was a pretty popular online sort of MLM-ish kind of a thing. And honestly, like, as soon as I entered that world, I immediately found a passion for it. Like, I love everything about, you know, being able to just do stuff online and somehow create a commission. That to me is magical. Like, for never to leave the house and to be able to see a commission. Now, not that I saw any commissions for the first couple of years of my journey, but yeah, I joined the first company that clearly did not work out. But looking back, I was not doing any of the stuff that I was actually supposed to produce those results. Then I got into, like, all kinds of search engine marketing, because everybody said, well, look, if you can control the traffic, if you can get the traffic, you're golden. But what you don't realize is that, you know, Google, you're basically under the umbrella of Google there, and if they decide to change a little thing, which they do very often, like 3-4 times a day.
And they don't tell you. They never announce it.
Yeah, so by the time I finished my first course, that was like old news. You know, that was, before I even got through that was already like irrelevant completely. So that clearly didn't work. And just basically going from one opportunity to another, having stuff not work consistently, but I didn't give up. I was going to give up, but I didn't give up. Close to the end of the year, and I was on the Warrior Forum, and I was just going through different different threads and stuff, and I came across this guy's thread, and I started looking at it, and I saw a whole bunch of people, and what was really cool was the fact that it wasn't any particular type of a person there. I saw people that looked exactly like me, my age, my kind of background, 30-plus-year-old. I also saw females that were over 50 years old. I also saw kids that were 19 years old. I saw a whole variety of people, and I was like, wow, like this must be something different, because if it works for working for all these people, it might work for me too. So I decided to kind of take the next step. I think I filled out a form or something like that.
And really long form. Like at the time we were collecting like a gazillion questions, because we wanted to weed out the opportunity seekers, if you will, and the people who were just collecting information and collecting offers.
So the first time I did that, I think we got connected like about a month later or something like that, like a couple of weeks later. You started explaining things to me and how it works. And honestly, like, I know what I'm going to say right now is not going to make sense, but it was too good to be true. It was just, I saw the type of, he was making more in a month than I was making in a whole year. And I was like,
it's really hard
impossible.
to believe. No, it's really hard to believe if you're not a part of it.
I didn't believe it. I just did not believe it. And it was like, wow, it was too much. So it was too good to be true. And out of sheer fear, I did not join. And that was a huge, if there was ever a mistake I have ever made online, that was it right there, that I told this guy no. So fast forward.
It was a year later, almost exactly a year later.
Yeah, and a year later, after going through, again, more failure, trying more things, failing more and more, out of literally sheer desperation, I was on the Warrior Forum again, kind of browsing, looking for the next, I don't know, $7 product to buy or whatever. Another magic trick, another bag of tricks to kind of open up and see something that as soon as I download whatever was there, I go on and buy the next thing. And that was just a vicious cycle. But I ended up on his page again. And what was different this time was from the last time I spoke to him until the next time I spoke to him was a whole year. And I noticed that in that year, he had more case studies. And I was like, God damn, like, Deco, you can't be that stupid. I mean, you got to do something. Obviously, this works, right? So we got to do something here. So then we got connected again, and I think it was the shortest conversation you've probably ever had.
Yeah, but I was skeptical, I'll be honest with you. It's like, again, this guy applies?
Right.
It's like, I was just curious to hear what you were going to say. Mm-hmm. And, I did quote him double the price.
Yeah. And to me, even though... it didn't matter at that point. It honestly did not matter because I knew that it was going to work. I knew that it just had to work. And I knew that if it was working for all those other folks, I'll be okay. And lo and behold, how long did we...
I remember that. These results I do remember because I spent the next 2 years bragging about David's results to anyone who wanted to sign up to my program. So in the first month, he made $1,500. That wasn't profit. That was just revenue from his funnel that he built. The second month you made I think $4,200 or $4,400. But the third one you already made $7,000 that month.
It was actually, I think you're talking about profits because the third month I already reached 12,000 plus.
Yeah, your list was growing like crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. I couldn't believe how fast it was growing. The biggest thing that I can give you is this. When I started the program, the one thing I promised myself was I'm not going to make this just like everything else. I was going to literally unlearn and forget about everything else that I was taught before. And if he would have told me, listen, you got to wear a chicken suit and a helmet, go to the mall and dance, and then come back and call this number, and then go behind the building and do this, I would have done it. Literally, I would have done it. I literally followed everything that he told me, like verbatim. Like, I didn't interpret it. I didn't give it any meaning. I just did what the guy told me. It took a while to kind of put everything together. Like, to me, it seemed like light years, but I think it took several weeks until I kind of had everything ready.
Yeah, and it was, first off, just to break things down, at the time, the program was consisting, the first step of the program was to create your own info product and then to build your own sales funnel. So you built a sales funnel with 2 offers, the front end and an upsell. The front end was 2 payments of 17, something like that?
27.
27.
I was greedy.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
went for it,
Which, I mean, it's awesome, but it took a while because you have to write copy, you have to build out the funnel, you have to understand the tech. I mean, there's a lot of work.
That part was the grind. That was the part that I wish I could have skipped, but that was the part that actually, kind of made it all happen. So I'm happy that was a means to an end, and the end was to get to build a list. That was the most important thing that I did, because that one offer and that one list that I created have gone on to make multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars at that point, and it was just ridiculous. By my 4th month, I was already bringing in over $18,000 a month. By the end of that year, I think my highest month was over $27,000. That's not even...
So you're from Canada. Mm-hmm. You've been here all your life.
That's US dollars, by the way.
Yeah. Now, you used to work for that company. What were you making a year?
$3,000 a month. That's what I was making.
So that's
without the bonuses.
36.
That's 36. Yeah.
I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah. This is the part that a lot of you right now probably watching this are like, those numbers don't make sense. That's complete. That doesn't make
How can you
any
make
sense.
in a month, not going to work?
That's right.
More than in a year at work.
The mechanism that actually makes this work, which is the actual list, the list. So if you have a list of 10,000 people, and that equals 1. If you have a list of 20,000, example, if you're making a certain amount of money, and that's, let's say, I'm not going to put any specific numbers on it, but just for the sake of the example, let's say if 10,000 subscribers bring you 10,000 a month as an example, if you have 20,000, well, then again, scientifically, it never works exactly with the same amount. But if you have a list of 20,000 and you're doing the right things and engaging that list the right way, guess what? Now you've doubled, your capacity to actually make that much more commissions, because you're doing the same work. To be able to send an email out to that list, it's the same email, whether it goes out to 10,000 people or it goes out to 30,000 people or it goes out to 100,000 people. It's the same email that goes out, or to 10 people. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's the leverage, right? It's
exactly. That's exactly what it is. This one email, literally one action, one thing that takes you about 5 or 10 or 20 minutes or 30 minutes to do. And in the beginning, it takes a little longer. It's like a muscle, you get used to it. I think my first email took me about 45 minutes to write, to kind of
Just 45 minutes?
Yeah, well.
It took me way more, man.
Yeah,
way more.
But then now I get to a point where I sit down and within 3 minutes, the email is already sent and in the inbox of the subscribers. It's incredible. Like, guys, you have to understand that, look, I'm eating steak and drinking wine tonight, and he's eating steak and drinking wine tonight anyway. So this, like, whether you buy this concept or don't buy this concept, it's up to you. But understand that this works, okay? There's no other way for me to explain it to you. Like,
wait. There is a better way. So we didn't tell you the full story, okay? Because this is not where it ends. Entrepreneurs will, what we tend to do is find something that works and then get bored with it, and then stop doing it for some reason.
That's this guy, right?
Okay. So David there's a point in his life where he was making money online with his list for a while.
Yeah, I can tell you what happened. Exactly what happened. So, and again, it's something that some people might call, embarrassing or whatever. But look, what started happening was this. A lot of people started approaching me and started asking me, hey, David, you're making all this money, man. Can you teach me how to do it? Can you do this? Can you do that? Started a coaching program, started creating info products, started doing all of these different things. But what that did, and even though I got paid very handsomely for that, like there's no issues there, it took me away from the core of the business, which was sitting down, sending out those emails that were making me all the money. My life was pretty simple. I used to send out an email a day, sometimes 2 emails a day, and all of a sudden, all the money comes in and I can just enjoy my time at the pool and hang out with my daughter and do all that stuff. But when I did all those extra things, everything started getting jumbled, and all of a sudden I have $1 million.
Feels like a job.
It not only feels like a job, but it was like too much on my hand, and I decided, all of a sudden I have too much going on and not the same income that I had coming in before, because I outsourced even the basic stuff that was making me the money, which was a big mistake. You got to always, make sure to do it yourself to get the important stuff anyways. So I decided to take a break. I actually took a break from the industry, but I didn't, it's not like I forgot what I learned. So I actually took all the knowledge and I took it to an offline business. Nothing to do with internet marketers.
I've seen it, guys. Like, to give you a big idea of what David did, when you know how to build your list, when you know how to build funnels, you know how to get leads. So he pretty much, his business is getting leads for other business people, and they just pay him for the leads that he qualifies, verifies, and just sends off to them so they can just have a phone call and go close the sale.
That's right.
I mean, and it's all automated.
Yep. Yeah, I don't touch it. Yeah, I don't touch it. It's fully automated. But one thing that did was, even though it was great money, I made myself a little fortune with that. Again, thanks, Igor. I realized how much I missed the online marketplace, like for the making money stuff. Why? Because
how is it different from offline stuff? This is beautiful.
I am a self-proclaimed BizOp junkie. I wear that hat proudly. Okay, I'm thinking about starting like a group or something when it comes to that. I love recruiting. I love looking at comp plans. I love building lists. I love doing all of those things that a lot of people sometimes, when they ask the question, are you doing this make money online thing? I answer that with yes. I love it. And some people try to hide from it. Like, don't hide from it. Listen, you gotta like wear the hat proudly. You just need to learn how does the game work. It's important that you understand what are the few things, the 80-20 rule, what are the 20% of things that produce 80% of the result. And I can tell you that it's beyond, if it's the 80-20 of the 80-20 of the 80-20 is having a list. If you've got a list and you engage them the right way, it's game over. Like example, next week, me and my daughter, we booked a vacation to California for absolutely no reason at all. We're not celebrating anything. We're not, this is not some vacation time at school or whatever. I did it because I want to. That's it. That's the only thing that should be there. You know, I don't need a reason to take a vacation. I know that I can literally make the same amount of money or even more by literally opening my laptop for about 15 minutes a day, sending out an email, and I'm done. And I'm off to Disneyland to high-five Mickey and take pictures with my daughter. That's it. That's basically the lifestyle. Like, picture this for a moment, okay? Imagine whatever circumstances you have right now. Imagine that going on for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years. Are you happy with what you see? Are you happy with what... I know when I looked at that, I wasn't. Deep inside, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy selling crappy cell phones to people and doing that stuff. I wanted something more. I wanted the freedom to be able to work whenever I want, to be able to service whoever I want, to work with cool people, to learn new stuff, and to really do the stuff I enjoy. And if you're currently in that position, if you're looking at your life right now, and you're like, okay, well, what if I could, imagine this, what if you could make money from a laptop? What if you could make 5 times, 10 times, 20 times more money that you're making right now from sending out an email from your laptop? It's possible, and this guy can get you there. If you follow the instructions, okay, you gotta follow the instructions.
Yeah, that's critical.
That's critical.
But I think we skipped an important part of the story. So you went out there, you built this offline business, which still was semi-automated.
It still works.
It still actually
still
does
works.
work right
I'm just
now.
not involved in it.
But you make a decision to move away from that, and you decide to do what?
To go back to
online.
Go back online.
Okay. How much time does it take you to build back up the whatever income you wanted from your online business from scratch, because you have been out of the game for like a year, lost your list, everything?
Again, you are probably going to have the Scooby-Doo effect right now, just like I did when I saw his results for the first time. It took me about 3 months to get to a list of over 44,000 people. I've done multiple case studies of multiple projects, and one project in particular has made me over $19,000. $19,000 in
90 days?
Not 90 days, 15 days.
15 days.
$19,000 in 15 days.
Oh wait, but okay. You had, because I watched you do this, like, so how many income streams total have you built throughout this time simultaneously?
I'm gonna have to count them, bro, because it's like, okay, 3, 4, 5, about 10.
10 income streams simultaneously?
And that's one of them, by the way. The 19,000 in 15 days, that's just one income stream.
Which was unexpected, right? You didn't expect it to work that well. I mean, let's face it.
I was. I mean, yeah, I wasn't expecting.
You were surprised, man.
Look, I'm always surprised. There's always that element of surprise, but you kind of know that it's gonna, we're gonna get something out of it. I just don't know exactly what the amount is. In fact, it's just one of those things that, look, if you know that 1 + 1 = 2, as long as you do 1 and you do the +1, you're gonna get a number. It might not be 2, it might be 2.5, might be 1.5.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get to a certain result, and it's gonna be definitely something that is going to take you further than where you are right now.
It's important to mention that no two lists are equal in the way they deliver results, because it depends on the person mailing and the circumstance, the offers and everything. Even sometimes the energy of the person. I had students who, just like David, built pretty much the same kinds of systems and funnels, etc., but they got less results. Some got better results. Okay, so circling back to you. Now this is important. So far we were able to establish that a list is where the money is. B, if you have a list, you have control over your financial destiny. C, a list is scalable. The bigger the list, the better you mail it, right? The more often you promote stuff to it, and the better the fit, the offer to the audience, the more money you make. So now you have the life you want, the income you want. Just to give an idea, what kind of life have you built for yourself? Because everyone has their own idea of a perfect life, but I just want you to share yours because it's so unique.
There's no person that appreciates the word freedom more than me, because I've done the corporate gig, shtick, whatever you want to call it, for a while, and I didn't enjoy it. I just did not enjoy it. I have no schedule whatsoever. For me, I wake up when I'm finished sleeping. That's when I wake up. I don't wake up to an alarm clock. I don't wake up to any of that stuff. because that's what I believe things should be like. I mean, sure, it doesn't mean that you need to be like me. I have a 6-year-old daughter. I enjoy watching her grow multiple times a year at least. She sometimes catches some bug from school and all of a sudden she has a cough or a fever or whatever. Beforehand, it used to be like, oh my God, like we have to arrange this big thing. I have to let my boss know this and that. Now, no problem. Just she stays at home and that's the end of that. Like there's nothing, nobody to call, nobody to say anything to. You know, we go hang out at, we have like a fish and chips night. We have like, it's a completely open schedule. You schedule whatever you want, whenever you want. And that's it. That's basically the end of that. I need absolutely no reason to do anything particular. Like I hit you up every now and then and be like, hey, let's do this. Oh, well, okay, let's do that. And that's it. There's nobody to call. There's nothing, no paperwork to fill out or anything like that.
There's another concept that you shared with me the other day, which was really profound to me because I've never seen it that way. So I was sharing with you how after moving to Canada, I noticed that things got more expensive for me, obviously, because I moved from basically a shithole to a high quality location. And so we started talking about money, the economy, and how the average person can handle so many expenses because you've got to, like everything costs money these days. And you shared with me something that's called a runway. Can you share it with
100%. So if you think about it, like everybody has a runway. What I mean by that, if you think of an airplane taking off, the airplane has a certain length of a runway. Now it might be I don't know what it is, honestly. I have nothing to do with, I don't know anything about airplanes, but let's say 2 miles, okay? So if you think of a person and their runway, let's say the savings in the bank is like $2,000. So if anything happens, if your car breaks down or something happens, your runway is $2,000. That means that you're literally $2,000 from living on a street somewhere or living under a bridge somewhere. And to me, I like having my runway. I have established a pretty big runway at this point. It's anything happens, I know I'm set. I could literally take a vacation, stop working, not send a single email out ever for the next 2 years, and I'm still okay.
And that's why you wake up when you're done sleeping, and not with your alarm.
That's right. You need a runway. You have to have a runway because if it's not, finances will constantly be on your mind. It's just something that's never going to go away. You're always going to think about, how do I pay that electricity bill next month? Oh, I have some long distance I racked up on my phone, or I have the kids' trip coming up, or this coming up, or that coming up. But when you have runway, when you have enough saved up in the bank from the money that you're making, that you have that in the bank and it's just tucked away and you don't have to touch it, then you know that, look, whatever happens, I'm set for the next 6 months, or I'm set for the next year, I'm set for the next 10 years, whatever it is. And that's going to make you, first of all, sleep much better at night. You're going to be able to wake up whenever you're finished sleeping. And also, it takes away that financial burden and you're free to create stuff. You're free to live your life and do the things that you appreciate and enjoy, which is exactly what I do. Now, as it happens, I actually appreciate and enjoy doing things online. So to me, I still continue doing it because I love it. I wouldn't replace it for anything else in the world. As it happens, I mean, one of the systems that I used, I think, created over 2,600 people that were recruited in a span of 3 months. To me, forget about the money for a second. I mean, of course, the money was there. I got big commission checks and all that stuff. But to me, that's what excites me. That's what... And maybe you have that same passion. Maybe not. Maybe you like to fish dolphins. I don't know what you're into.
Fish dolphins.
Whatever you're into. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, it's going to give you that. If you set this up the right way and you follow the instructions and you do this the right way, and I'm a perfect example of that. I'm sure I'm semi-handsome, but I'm in no particular have a high IQ or anything like that. I'm an average guy. I lived an average life before. I'm not a computer science major or anything like that. I just took whatever he showed me, I followed the instructions, and I can guarantee you if I was starting today and I followed the instructions of what he's teaching today, absolutely nothing changed. This would work today just like it did 3 years ago, just like it would 10 years ago, because you're working on foundational stuff that will always continue working.
Yeah, that's what Jeff Bezos said, from the founder of Amazon. He said, don't try to build a business on a fad. that shifting sand. Try to build it on something that's not going to go away in the next 10 years. An email doesn't go away.
Yep.
It just doesn't. And list building has been here and will continue to be here no matter how much social media grows and no matter how many ways of communication like Telegram and other, other stuff they're going to invent. I think, the concept of a runway is a really great way to finish this conversation, because right now what I want you guys to think about is, what is your runway? How long is your runway? How long do you have before you run out of runway and be out there on the street? Or, how many, difficult situations you're away from complete and total failure in your life, right? And of course, I realize how manipulative this question sounds, but this is intentional simply because it doesn't serve you any good. It doesn't do you any good if I just try to sort of like paint rosy pictures for you and pretend everything's okay. People who do that usually end up really, really bad in life. So, David, thank you so much, my man.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you for
Absolute
doing this.
pleasure. Thanks for watching this, and thanks for having me.